Oh, a client recently told me about how her manager called her a psychopath after she had a meltdown at work. And it's just awful because she's autistic and now doesn't know how to go back. It's a absolutely brutal thing to hear from someone who's supposed to be leading you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's appalling. But
Awful.
it's not unusual, unfortunately. You know, managers love a diagnosis, don't they, without the inconvenience of knowledge. So psychopath has become shorthand for anyone who unsettles them.
Oh, and it's one of the cruelest things you can call someone at all, but especially someone who's autistic, because so much of their energy goes into masking already, right? They're working to look calm, regulated and safe for everyone else. And when that cracks, what comes out isn't manipulation, as a psychopath would be. It's a survival response. A meltdown is basically the body's version of too much. It's not strategic in any way, shape or form. It's neurological.
Yeah, this is it. And yet, to the untrained eye, it looks deliberate.
Yes.
You know, you lose composure, people assume you're losing control at them rather than because of overload.
Yes. And once they feel threatened, they look for meaning that protects them. And you're a psychopath. It's tidy, it's lazy, but it's tidy. It puts the discomfort somewhere else.
Which is ironic, really, when you think of it, because clinically, autism and psychopathy they're almost opposites of each other. Autism, the autistic brain struggles with automatic social decoding, whereas the psychopathic brain decodes perfectly.
Yes.
But doesn't feel. One misreads and the other misuses.
Right, and that's the bit that people can't see, because autism isn't a lack of empathy, it's a difference in processing, right? Many autistic people feel so intensely that they shut down just from the sheer weight of it, and that's empathy too, just not the kind that looks comforting in a meeting room.
Yeah. Managers rely on emotional heuristics, though. So, which are those shortcuts that say smile means safe, eye contact means honest. Nonsense, by the way, I might add. But because the psychopath is well able to smile and make eye contact.
Right.
And when someone doesn't follow those rules, they assume danger. It's system one thinking. So fast, intuitive, wrong. Right.
Oh my goodness. And organizational culture feeds it. Because I've worked with companies where calmness is treated as morality, and emotion is incompetence. So then when an autistic employee reaches breaking point, they're punished for being unprofessional, where in fact they've been self-regulating under siege for months. Right?
The corporate world, the corporate world loves performance over substance anyway. At the best of times, it rewards people who look composed, not necessarily the ones doing their job well, though.
Oh, so true. I see it all the time in therapy, because clients come in shattered, not because of the workload, but because of the kind of constant misreading. Their colleagues see bluntness, for example, as aggression, exhaustion as disinterest, silence as a hostility rather. It's like, I suppose it's a bit like being in a foreign country where everyone insists you speak the language perfectly, but refuses to teach you the grammar, right, or how you've got it wrong.
And then when communication breaks down, it's always the autistic person told to adapt.
Yes. I mean, this client said to me, I've done all the adapting I can, and that's the bloody tragedy of it. She's been managing everyone else's emotions for years, because when you're autistic in a neurotypical environment, you learn to preempt other people's reactions just to survive. And that's not lack of empathy. That's hyper-awareness.
And that's where I'd bring in theory of mind. Neurotypical people assume it's a one-way system. You either have it or you don't.
Right.
But autistic people often have an excellent theory of mind for non-autistic people. Once they've learnt the patterns,
Yes.
it just takes, well, it takes incredible effort, which is exhausting.
Oh, absolutely and exactly. You know, it's the Rolodex of finding how they behaved before to know how they'll behave now. You know, it's learned empathy. It's not absent empathy. And when that learning kind of collapses under stress, they get accused of coldness. And what that manager saw wasn't malice at all. It was, I don't know, the moment the scaffolding gave way. Right.
And his interpretation, psychopath, came from projecting intent. You know, he felt uncomfortable and needed a reason. So he invented one that kept him blameless.
Oh, gross. Because that's projection, plain and simple. It's also a misuse of power, because when a manager labels you like that, it's not just a word, it's a threat. It says you're dangerous. And I control the narrative. The
challenge is it becomes institutional very quickly. So HR steps in, language hardens, and suddenly psychopath morphs into behavioral concern. And the stigma stays.
Right? And then she's left questioning herself. That's what does the most harm, actually, the self-doubt then. She said, maybe I do make people feel uncomfortable. And that's trauma. When someone in authority names you as something monstrous, it rewires your sense of safety. It's
authority bias as well. We assume people in charge must be right, even when they're absurdly wrong, especially in hierarchies where, dissent feels risky, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. I actually sometimes tell clients, when someone mislabels you like that, don't argue the label, challenge the competence of the person using it. Ask them what makes you qualified to assess that. But of course, few employees are going to feel safe enough to do that or to, say it.
Especially when the manager sees curiosity as defiance. Because they confuse, and it's not just managers, it's people in general, confuse questioning with insolence.
Oh, for sure, which is why organisational culture really matters. Because if leadership doesn't model curiosity, the system just naturally defaults to control. And managers fear difference, don't they? So they pathologise it.
They'd rather medicalise behaviour than humanise it.
Precisely. That's exactly it. And I think part of the issue is that corporate training around neurodiversity often focuses on tolerance, not understanding. It's all about be kind, which is lovely-ish, but kindness without comprehension is just patronising, infantilising.
And it's fragile. It lasts only as long as the autistic person stays convenient. The first time there's conflict, the goodwill and the understanding or the tolerance, whatever, evaporates.
God, even that word tolerance, it's awful, isn't it? Tolerant.
I'm tolerating you.
I'm tolerating you. I'll allow you in this space as long as you behave in this neurotypical manner and keep masking. It was interesting. She later... she told me later that he had said, I just didn't know how to handle you. Which, it's probably true, but it's still his responsibility, because leadership isn't about comfort, it's about capacity. You're supposed to make people feel safe enough to function.
Well, that's the behavioural side of leadership. You regulate the group. If you can't self-regulate, then you shouldn't be managing anyone.
Oh, absolutely. In therapy, I'd call that co-regulation, because our nervous systems are kind of constantly responding to each other. And when a manager stays calm, it cues safety. When they react with fear or accusation, it just triggers more distress. It's neuroscience, not personality. Right?
It's the corporate version of fight or flight, isn't it? The manager felt threat, so he attacked.
Right, and then she froze, which of course just then confirmed his bias.
Yeah, so you've got a perfect loop. He misreads, she withdraws, he feels justified.
Right. And that's what trauma in the workplace looks like. It's circular. And unless someone intervenes with understanding, it just repeats.
There's also a structural bias as well, don't forget. Companies recruit for charisma and usually not competence. So the people most likely to mislabel others often hold the most authority.
Oh, yes, because they kind of present well, don't they? Smooth speech, confidence, eye contact, kind of the very signals that autistic people are told to imitate. It's almost comedic. Well, if it wasn't so cruel.
Yeah, agreed. But the psychopathic traits actually get rewarded as well.
Yes,
this is the thing, you know. Surface charm, risk tolerance, low empathy, while autistic traits often get punished. And then the autistic employee is the one, ironically, branded as dangerous.
Right. And the psychological fallout can be profound because being called a psychopath attacks your core sense of morality. And for many autistic people, fairness and honesty are like sacred values. It's kind of like, I don't know, accusing a pacifist of violence. It's awful.
Right. Right. And, you know, the autistic employee is, at the best of times, going to take things literally anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which also tells us that the manager understood absolutely nothing about motivation, you know?
Right.
Psychopathy is about manipulation for gain. Autism isn't about gain at all. It's about clarity.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Cost to others. It's the only thing you need to look at, right? And when clarity collides with ego, ego's going to win. Always.
Always. Always,
Right.
always.
So what should have happened, I suppose, is that he could have said, I saw you were distressed. What can I do differently next time? That's curiosity and that's repair too.
But instead he pathologized. And he pathologized difference, which is why training shouldn't just tick the neurodiversity box. You know, it should teach interpretation. Managers need to learn that not everything uncomfortable is dangerous.
Oh, so true. And that also maybe emotional expression isn't uniform. Because some people cry when they get angry. Some people laugh when they're anxious. They freeze when they're frightened. And the body often speaks much longer before the words do.
Yeah, they do. And that's what gets, misread. And you'll know this annoys me intensely, that people misread behavior and see what they want to see. Because people assume communication means speech. When in fact, most of it is non-verbal and highly context dependent.
Right. And autistic communication often prioritizes honesty over comfort. And for the neurotypical person, that can feel abrupt, but it's really unkind. It's just precision.
Well, I mean, which should be praised and prized in the workplace, frankly.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where everyone said exactly what they meant. Now, double-edged sword, but, just imagine. I
mean, terrifying for HR, but blissful for the rest of us?
Sometimes. The irony being, though, of course, that the so-called psychopath is often the only person in the room operating from integrity.
Oh my God, yes. Because she didn't weaponize her emotion. She just couldn't contain it. And now she's questioning her entire self-image because someone else panicked. It's awful.
And this is why leadership, and especially, as I say, all of the time, language matters. One ill-chosen word can cost someone their confidence. It can cost them their job. And I suppose most worryingly, it can even cost them their mental health.
Oh, and I have seen that in real life action, where I had a client that thought they might be a sociopath and had decided they would kill themselves if they were. It turned out they were autistic. But with this client, luckily that wasn't the situation. But I told her that the meltdown wasn't the failure in any way, shape or form. The failure was the room's inability to hold her humanity.
That's nicely put, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's what I wish managers would just understand. If you don't understand what you're seeing, pause. Curiosity just costs absolutely nothing, but ignorance is expensive, really expensive.
Both economically and psychologically.
Exactly.
Because misinterpretation leads to turnover, staff turnover.
Sure.
It also leads to grievances, and it can lead to burnout, all because someone couldn't tell the difference between distress and danger.
Right. And she wants to move departments now. Said she didn't want to stay somewhere that she was treated as a threat. And I can't blame her for that, Once someone's made you feel unsafe, it's rarely going to be fixable.
Absolutely. I mean, trust decays faster than it builds, that's for sure.
I mean, true. But it is, reparable in principle. If that manager had apologised sincerely, kind of acknowledged the harm, she might have stayed. And it's amazing what honesty can repair, especially for an autistic person.
Right, but unfortunately most managers would rather go on a resilience training course, again, than say, I was wrong.
I think there's a slogan for corporate life, if ever I heard one in that.
Maybe you should put it on a mug.
No.